Good to see you.
Good to see everybody. We are at 6:34. I'm sure we'll have some latecomers join us in a few, but we will go ahead and get started.
All right, cool.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening. We're very excited to be hosting our first evening Biz Mixer event, which we have lovingly rebranded and called Shake It Down, Connect Over Cocktails. So we want to bring the community something fresh and fun. And you can expect to hear business presentations that will leave you with new tools, tips, and strategies that you can apply in your business. And our morning mixers will follow the same formula. So keep an eye out for our morning events, which are now called Shake It Up, Wake It Up, Connect Over Coffee. So it's great to see everybody on a Thursday night. A lot of familiar faces here and a lot of board members, which we love to see. And of course, our counselor is in the meeting as well. Thanks for joining us, Stephen. Looking forward to chatting with each and every one of you. So to kickstart the festivities, I invite you all to raise your glass or drink if you have one, and cheers. So without further ado, let's get started. Today's agenda for this evening will consist of 5 parts, and in a few minutes we will hear a presentation from Caitlin Blundell, business coach and member of the Port Credit BIA, and she will be sharing some valuable tips and strategies that you can implement in your own business. We'll then move into our breakout room sessions where you'll have the opportunity to mix and mingle with other attendees, and then we will have 2 15-minute back-to-back breakout sessions. And then after the sessions, you'll come back to the main room one last time, and we will provide you with a quick update from the Port Credit BIA, and then we will open the floor to any new members who would like to provide a business update or introduce themselves to the entire group. So before I hand the mic over to our guest speaker, I'd like to cover some basic housekeeping. I'm sure you guys know the drill. Please keep your mic on mute while others are speaking. During our breakout sessions, please have your camera on so that others can see you. And lastly, if you have any comments or questions during presentations, please type them in the chat. So today's guest speaker is business coach Caitlin Blundell. And Caitlin is a business coach, and she coaches business owners to be the best leaders that they can be using the proven action coach system, where she provides an outsider's expert insight, helping her clients stay focused on the things that matter most. Caitlin is passionate about helping entrepreneurs set ambitious targets, and building a realistic plan for how to achieve them. Her goal is to give business owners back their freedom through smart, systematic business development. And she believes that being in business should give you life and not suck the life out of you. So at this time, let's welcome Caitlin to the stage.
Thank you so much. Now, Diane, is there any opportunity for me to share my screen here?
Yes, absolutely. I think you have the permission.
All right. I think, will you do that? Maybe by a quick show of hands, can you guys show me how many people are business owners? Yeah, anybody work for somebody else? Great. Okay. Of the first group, how many wish you worked for somebody else right about now? I couldn't blame you after the year we've had. Even people who have done pretty well through everything might start to feel like we're stuck in a little bit of a time loop. So thank you guys for being here. A mentor once told me that you can choose to spend your time or invest it. So I recognize that you made a choice to invest your time this evening to come out and connect with the BIA, and I'm really excited to be here with you as well. As Diane said, my name is Caitlin, and I am a business coach. I'm just going to pull my slides up onto the screen as I talk here. All right. Okay. Are you guys seeing this now? Good? Okay. So I'm Caitlin, I'm a business coach, and I get really excited when I get to invest my time with people who have big dreams for what they want to achieve in their business and in their life, and it's really my privilege to work with them and make it happen. So for today, I have one rule and two goals. Okay, because as Diane said, I do believe that being in business should give you life and not suck the life out of you. So I always have a rule for all of my clients and every workshop I do, which is that we are going to have some fun. And this is because there's always some folks who need the fun to be a rule because otherwise they won't allow it. I'm glad those folks aren't here today because we're all having fun already. So my goals for today are, first of all, I want to give you maybe a different perspective that will help you as you build your own amazing business. And I would like it if you walked away with some ideas that you can use right away. I am an action coach, not a think about it coach. So kicking off today with the end in mind, I'd like it if everybody could take just a few seconds to think of one significant goal that they would like to achieve over the next year or so. So in other words, if the next 12 months go really well for you and your business, what target might you reach? So I think for some people, this might be a revenue goal, but not necessarily. For others, maybe it's a different sort of milestone, or maybe being able to take a step back from day-to-day operations, or maybe it's hiring or even hiring back for key positions. For others, maybe it's being able to make a large charitable donation at the end of the year. Okay. So does everybody have something in mind? So the reason I asked you to do that is because I want to talk a little bit about your brain. Specifically your reticular activating cortex. Stick with me here, this is going somewhere. So this is the part of your brain that it receives input from your nerves. Sorry, my screen sharing got paused here. I feel like we're not on the same page that we were. Sorry, a little technical glitch. Not sure what it's doing here. Let me try that one more time. It's like it's not letting me go to full screen. I'm just going to go like this then. Okay. So, so the reticular cortex is at the base of your brain, and this is where you receive your input from your nerves, your cranial nerves and your spinal nerves. So in plain English, we gather information about the environment around us through our senses, right? Through what we see, feel, smell, and then our brains kick in to help us interpret that information. Because of course, not everyone sees the world the same way. Some people look at my lawn and see a wildflower meadow, and others see a bunch of weeds. So there are factors that we know affect this, things like culture and personality, lifestyle, stress, whether you're a child or a grown-up, and more. So this reticular activating system is what really filters the information that you're seeing. And if you've ever had that experience where you go out and you buy a new car, for example, and then what happens? You start seeing that car everywhere you go, right? Because in many ways, we're sort of programmed to notice the things that we think about. We see what we expect to see, and we move towards the things we think about. Tony Robbins really famously said, focus goes where energy flows, meaning that when you focus energy on certain key outcomes, you might start to even get insights that weren't available before. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, where you have, coincidentally, you bump into somebody who can help you on your way, or you might overhear a conversation or stumble onto a resource that you might have otherwise missed. I know for myself, sometimes I can reread a book a second time and get something completely different from it. So the reticular activating system is the compass for the brain. So that's why I asked you to set a goal in mind, because that's one way we can set the compass, and one way to start filtering the information that will help us to identify the ideas and the opportunities that are in line with the goal. So lock it in, write it down, keep coming back to it. And by the way, this works for positive goals, right? The things we're actively working towards. But unfortunately, the bad news is this pattern of we see what we expect to see also works in reverse. So if we are in a state of kind of burnout or of overwhelm, it's really hard to find things to be appreciative or grateful for, right? They don't appear to us. So I'm not candidly like a law of attraction type of coach, but I really like what Zig Ziglar said, which is this: positive thinking will let you do anything better than negative thinking will. Okay, positive thinking will let you do anything better than negative thinking will. So why set goals? Well, first of all, because that's how we set that internal compass, right? So we can focus energy on the positive outcomes we want rather than the negative ones that we're trying to avoid. And I'm gonna digress a little bit here, because there's one more thing about goals I want to say, which is that there are two categories of goal, two types of goals: away from and toward. So your away from goals are things like, I'm in pain and I want to get out of pain. Okay, I'm in debt and I want to get out of debt. Okay, and those goals, they're fine. Toward goals are the next progression. So something that you're dreaming of happening, that is not just going to get you out of a situation that you don't like, but it's actually going to move you closer to a situation that you are happier. So a toward goal could be something like, every single night I'm going to have dinner with my family. It could be, I am going to take my spouse, we're going to go on a golf vacation 1 weekend a month all summer long, right? Something like that, some dream or goal that you're working towards. So let's also talk about happiness, because this also ties into the science of happiness, because our perceived progress towards our goal is a key factor in how happy we feel. And when we don't feel like we're progressing with that destination in mind, we are less happy. So some other things I can tell you about this kind of science of happiness is, for one thing, perceived control. So when we feel as though we are in making decisions, we have agency, we have power, that makes us feel better than the alternative. Also, our relationships, so our connectedness to others is a key factor. And finally, one other to talk about is whether we are acting in alignment with our own personal vision or our core values. So burnout can happen when those things are not true. Okay, so when we feel that we lack a meaningful goal, when we lack clarity about why we're doing what we're doing. It comes sometimes when our actions aren't aligning with our core values, or when we're mired in a challenge with no end in sight. And I know I've talked to a lot of people who have really struggled with that last one over the course of the pandemic, because I've heard this sense that we're running a really, really long race, and then the finish line keeps moving further and further away. So I know it's really easy to say, we're gonna focus on the positive and we're gonna set positive goals. But I also want to take a moment to talk about finding some energy boosters, so that if we are feeling a kind of a state of burnout or overwhelm, these are some things that can help to break through to the other side of that. The first one is to create time for rest and real rest, real rejuvenating rest. I know a lot of folks are working from home and finding it the boundary is blurred between work life and home life, and maybe we never turn off completely. So one thing I've been doing myself is really leaning into my calendar. And I actually have time blocked into my calendar set aside for reading and for exercise and for other things that I enjoy. And then that time becomes a firm commitment because this is the way I think about it. If my best customer is the one that makes me the most money at the end of the day, guess who that is? It's me. So no one else is going to do it. So that idea of treating yourself like your best customer and giving attention so that you can continue to show up for your business. Another one would be trying to find something to look forward to. So in the kind of the week to maybe 1 month time frame, is there something coming up that will be fun or rewarding or satisfying? So I was talking to someone who was like pretty demoralized about work. But the thing he managed to pull out is he could focus on the anticipation of billing for a completed project, right? Sending that final invoice. And that sense of having something that he was looking forward to kind of helped him get out of the weeds mentally. And I've, of course, started by talking about goals. And so the idea here is to have, a couple, 1 or 2, maybe 3 clear goals. So not 100, because that kind of drives further into overwhelm and burnout. But identifying a couple of goals that really motivate you is a really great step. And then, of course, the next step would be to figure out what action you can take and kind of what specific task will advance you towards the goal. So I'd love to tell just a quick story about how these pieces start to come together, because I had a meeting with a business owner recently, and she had been in business for a number of years, okay, and things have stalled. She was working a ton of hours, but couldn't seem to get out of this place that she'd plateaued at about 18 months ago. And she was really frustrated because she was working and working and working, but not getting the results. So we talked about her goals. And for her, this was all about time management. So she wanted to reclaim control of her calendar and have more time away from the business. But she also needed to increase revenue. And so she was stuck on this treadmill of thinking that she needed to work more and more and more to bring in more leads. When we sat down to look at what was really going on, and we did some testing and measuring, so we realized that she was actually doing really well at lead generation, which I guess wasn't a surprise because she hadn't really thought about anything else for about 18 months. But what we found is that her conversion rate, so that the number of people who actually made a purchase, that wasn't so great. And also she had this whole database of past customers that she'd lost touch with. So her goals to reduce her busyness and to increase her profitability, it really came down to finding a couple of strategies that would help her improve her conversion rate and then get back in touch with her database. So she was able to figure out what actions to take to kind of get off that lead generation treadmill. And that brings me to the formula for change. I'm going to go to here. Okay, because this is really what we're after. So the idea of kind of setting a goal is to try to reach it, right? So that usually means making some sort of change. So I'm going to walk through this and talk about where we can apply it, because this might work in a couple of different areas for you. So when it's time to act differently, to change our behavior, this is what the research has showed. It is all about overcoming our resistance. And that's the R on the right side of the equation. In order to overcome the resistance, we need a few things. First of all, we need to be dissatisfied, right, with the current situation. Otherwise, there's no real problem, so there's no motivation. So how dissatisfied are you? That's the D. Next, we also need to have a vision for how things could be better. Okay, that's the V. And once we've got both these elements, the final piece is to have an awareness of what the first step is that will put us on that path to making the change. After all, if you know you want something, but you have no idea how to go about getting it, you're really stuck. So because I know you're business owners for the most part, let me first say that this formula can be useful if you are in a sales situation. Something to maybe think about if you find people aren't converting. So oftentimes when we feel like we are being sold to, or when we know we're being sold to, that resistance goes way up, right? I think we've all probably experienced that. And this shows kind of how to get past that. So let's take as an example, someone selling a car. So what do? First, they dial up the dissatisfaction with the current situation. So they do that by talking to the person in front of them and getting them to detail all of the things that they don't like about their current ride. And then they also dial up their vision for the future. You know, how great will their life be when they're, you know, free as a bird and the envy of all their neighbors, right? And then all they need is that first step. Why don't you take it for a test drive? Right? So that's kind of a sales tip, but this also works on us as individuals, because when we're trying to make an internal change to reach our goals, it's worth reflecting on what's stopping us. So maybe it's a question of not being dissatisfied with the current situation. You know, for some, maybe, sure, we'd love a little extra money in the bank, but if you're comfortable enough, are you motivated? So if that were the case, then maybe we need to find a more compelling vision. So this is coming back to that goal again. So I was talking to somebody he was pretty comfortable in his business, but his dream, right, the thing that really motivated him was that he wanted to be able to donate more time and money to his favorite charity. And that was his vision. So it's worth kind of pausing to think about what will help you push through your own resistance to do the work toward the goal. So if I had one takeaway message today, it's this. It's by focusing your attention on a positive goal, you can do a few things. Okay, you can increase your own happiness, you can set that internal compass, and more importantly, it sets you up to take productive action. So I guess in closing here, I want to say that I am new to the BIA, but I have been a really proud resident of Port Credit for over a decade. And the success of the business community here means a lot to me. So if anybody would like to follow up and talk a little bit more about building a plan and working on specific actions to navigate the year ahead, I'm making myself available for a free coaching session. So this is kind of like the first one's on me, and we can kind of get to know each other. So I'm happy to, I guess, put my email in the chat, and Diane has it as well. And I'm happy to connect and continue the conversation one-on-one. And if you've been paying attention, you might notice that I'm giving you an easy first step. So that's that. And the time has come to get into action. How are we doing for time, Diane?
We're doing great. We're doing great. Thank you. I saw you have 2 slides to follow. Please.
Well, those were for the breakout room topics. So
Okay.
maybe we pause here. If anybody wants to kind of weigh in or has any thoughts or questions, maybe we could have a quick chat.
Yeah, for sure. Right now, Natasha, she's in the background there. She'll be splitting us up into 2 breakout rooms. So as she does that, if anyone has any questions or any comments on Caitlin's wonderful presentation, feel free to shout it out. If not, if we're feeling a little shy, we can discuss in our smaller groups in about a minute. I really like that formula that you were showing us, Caitlin. I think that's something that we've all applied before, but we just didn't know exactly what the pieces were to kind of motivate us for change. So it's really interesting to see the formula right there in front of you.
Thanks. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to teach, to show people, because you see the light bulbs going off.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so applicable in all parts of life right now, not just business, but personal and health. Health is a big one. You know, I know for me, there was a period there where it got a little hairy, but I guess the dissatisfaction won. And I set a positive goal, and now we're working hard.
Nice work. All right, it looks like we're moving into breakout rooms. Should I pull up the, I have some suggested topics.
Yes,
and it's by no means a kind of dictatorship here. So talk about what you want to talk about. But if you'd like to continue this particular conversation, the first one is, what is the biggest lesson you've learned during the pandemic that could also benefit other business owners? So as we move into our breakout rooms, that's one thing we could be talking about.
Perfect.
Great.
I think Natasha is moving people over one by one here. Is this us? Hey.
And you have to just go to the breakout rooms and join a room. Join the second room.
Okay.
Because you're me.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so the second room only has 4 people. We lost 2.
Okay. Hello. Hi, everyone. You guys can unmute yourselves now that we're in the breakout room. Hi. So I know some of you, not all of you. So why don't we start by doing a quick little intro, and then we can just chat about Caitlin's presentation. I can start. My name's Diane. I'm the Business Development Manager for the Port Credit BIA, and of course, your host for this evening. I'm very excited to be bringing back these networking events for Port Credit BIA. I know now it's looking a little bit different because we're used to face-to-face. Fingers crossed that can come back again soon, but really happy to give everyone the opportunity to connect still. And kind of see their neighbors and catch up, even though we can't do it in person. So I'll go to my right, Lucy, if you want to introduce yourself to the group, let everyone know who you are and your business.
Hi, I'm Lucy, and I own Zest for Living in Port Credit. And I've also just recently joined the BIA. So I've been to the old style of in-person mixes, and so yeah, this is a little bit unique, which is great. We can all be sort of comfortable, which is sort of nice.
Yeah,
have our own drinks and our own snacks as we please, and it's nice to have this smaller grouping, because I found sometimes when we had the bigger groups, you didn't really have a chance to meet people or connect and get a feel for other people. So it's kind of nice to have a smaller group.
agreed. Maria, we'll go to you.
So I am Maria. Currently I own an online shop with plant-related items like planters, plant-themed shirts, keychains, all plant-themed stuff. And I'm actually looking to open a storefront in Port Credit soon. So I'm super excited about that. First event from the Port Credit BIA that I've attended, but definitely learning some stuff. And super excited to meet people and start networking and such.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're happy to have you, and great idea participating in these networking events, because everyone here is a business owner with a business in Port Credit. So definitely some great resources here to reach out to and get some information on, what it's like to own a business here. So I encourage you to, exchange contact information throughout the event and connect with each other.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, Wasim.
All right, so my name is Wasim. I'm the owner of Cloth Talk in Port Credit, where we do custom garments for men and soon hopefully for women as well. And just recently joined the board of Port Credit. This is my first mix. Looking forward to, joining the rest of them. Unfortunately, I'm fasting, so I got no drink tonight. But again, for the future. And then, of course, meeting everybody in person. So,
Thanks, Wasim. And Wasim and Lucy both sit on our board of directors. They're two of our newest members, so we're lucky to have them. And yeah, you guys should definitely get to know them as well. And Kimberly, we'll go to you.
Hi, my name is Kimberly. I work at Vulcan Investments, and this is also my first mixer, so it doesn't feel as strange to me as it maybe does to others. But yeah, I'm excited to see what the BIA is up to, what the other businesses are up to, how they're doing, learn more about the community, and pick up some tips that I can take back to work with me.
That's awesome. Welcome. And we're happy to have you. And hopefully this is not the last event that you join with us. So yeah, let's chat, you guys. What did we think about Caitlin's presentation? I loved it. I love, tips and strategies like that to apply in business and in life. Did you guys find it, valuable, useful? Anything that you're going to take away and maybe implement in your own businesses?
I think, as you mentioned, with that formula that she has, it's something that we implement, but it was never broken down the way she broke it down. You never, like we already did that as salespeople, but you never really looked at it that way, right? So I think that was good to see that.
Yeah, I agree.
I liked what she mentioned about the away from goals and the moving towards goals. I feel like that's something I'm starting to realize in my own life lately, and it was cool to see that mirrored and to have that reminder of how I can apply that to work as well, especially with all the craziness that's been happening with COVID and everyone's just trying to keep afloat and keep all the bad stuff at bay. It's nice to also think we can also work towards positive things, and it's not all based in a negative outlook.
I agree. I have a question. So the four of you are all business owners, right? Kimberly, Maria, and of course, Lucy, Wasim, I know. How many years have you guys been in operation?
One.
1 year. Okay.
Yeah.
You chose quite the year to do that.
I know, right?
Yeah. Lucy, how long have you been in operation with Zest?
So Zest has been around for about 13 years. I've been part of it for about 10. And I bought it about 8 years, 7 or 8, I don't know, 8, 9 years ago now. And then I moved it to the current location. Honestly, has it been a year? Has it been 5 these days?
I know.
People always refer to it as Blur's Day. Like today's Blur's Day.
I've never heard that. I love that. It really feels like that though.
And I mean, it's not even, I find it's not even the days. Like sometimes I go, what do you mean or like, how can it be May on Friday? Like
I know.
It was January yesterday. Like what happened?
Yeah.
So it's been X amount of years and I've been at my new location about almost 6 years now.
Awesome. And Wasim, how long has Cloth Talk been part of BIA?
So 1 year, and we opened up there October of 2019. But before that, I would say it was about 2 years, but before that, it was more like online. It wasn't online. It was more visiting houses and then offices. And then we finally got a location, and then COVID decided to show up.
Yeah. It's been, I feel your pain. I feel it. And Kimberly?
So Vulcan Investments, I don't actually own it. I work there, but it's been in business for about 7 years now. And I came on fall of 2019. So I've been there about 1.5 years. And we've been in Port Credit for most of that time.
Mhm. Nice. So, question to all of you business owners, and I know Kimberly, you're not a business owner, but you're very much in business. Have you guys set any positive goals for this year? Something to kind of anchor to as we move through this, unpredictable 2021?
On a small scale, it's keep the doors open for when they can open.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of businesses are feeling that. Thankfully, I have a bit of a stability, which, because I've been around for a little bit, it helps. But on the flip side, I know businesses that have been in business for 10, 20, 30 years that have closed their doors. So that doesn't guarantee sticking around. So it's interesting because usually I'm a goal setter as well. And I haven't set specific goals. I think similar to what Kimberly was referring to, it's the getting out of the negative and just kind of working towards setting a goal maybe in 3 months rather than I think we're all in that state of flux, of fatigue, of what's next. You can plan for something. It's not unlike having children, which I have 4 of, and you just think, okay, just when I figure things out, they switch it up. So it feels a little bit like parenting yet again. I thought I was out of that, but not yet.
Yeah. And I like what Caitlin said about the rest piece. For me, I'm finding it particularly difficult, even though we're in lockdown, even though we're at home. It seems impossible to find a moment of rest. I don't know if that's just me. Are you guys having the same experience? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm glued to my phone. I'm working overtime because that's really the only exciting thing to do. But the burnout is real. So
the other thing I find is because everyone has different schedules and we all want to be available to everyone. It's like, I think if you're in business, you're a people pleaser. You want to please all of the potential customers as well as existing customers, and you don't want to disappoint. So it's that thought of, well, okay, if someone sends me a request at 11 o'clock at night, just because I might be scrolling through my social media and I see it, do I respond? Do I not? Like it's a constant battle. So it's kind of tough to know where to draw the line. So yeah, I hear you. It's never ending.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the main room. How was everybody's first breakout session? You guys enjoy it? Awesome. We were just chatting about, I'll let you guys, as Tasha kind of regroups and organizes us for our second breakout room. We were just talking about rest and how basically all of us have been finding it challenging, even during a lockdown, to find moments of rest. And Lucy was saying, she'll get a message on social media or an email comes in at 11 o'clock and you want to be responsive and you're available to be responsive. But on the flip side, you end up working until midnight before you realize, okay, I should go to sleep. So I don't know if you guys are having the same kind of experience, but certainly keep Caitlin's advice in mind and find moments of rest when you can.
Yeah, I go the first one.
Are you okay? First one.
I'm dying for the first one.
Okay.
To open up a storefront in Port Credit. Right now I run my business online, e-commerce. Okay. And this is my first event that I attend, so that would be why.
What do you do? Welcome. What is your business?
So I currently online I sell planters and plant themed accessories. but in my storefront, I want to sell houseplants along with all those accessories. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, plants are huge now. I have friends who, I mean, most of them live in condos, but their condos are filled just floor to ceiling. Things are hanging, things are on the floor. I don't know if anyone here is a plant mom. I'm not. I can't keep a plant alive to
I kill
save my
every
life. I really can't. Did you say you can or you cannot?
I can't. I have like a
Yeah.
brown thumb.
I can't do it. I have a dog. My dog's still alive. So like,
Yeah, me too. Me too.
They-
They're alive.
yes, I can do that. But when it comes to plants, I swear they don't last a week in my house, and I don't know why. I don't know why.
And are they all live or some of them succulents, Maria?
Succulents as well.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say succulents. I meant fake.
No, I hope to carry live plants. That's
Okay.
kind of what I'm most interested in.
Do you have a space that you're looking at, Maria?
There's not that much around Port Credit right now, which is a good sign for all the other businesses. Just somewhere in Lakeshore would be nice. Anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we hope to see you soon, and Julia as well. I don't know if you guys did the whole intro while I was getting put into a room, but Julia is also a business owner similar to Lucy and Caitlin. So they're wonderful resources. If you have any questions, I would strongly recommend to reach out to any of them. They're all friendly and very knowledgeable, and they don't bite. I was just gonna say that, and they don't bite.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I don't know if I need to do a little intro. Caitlin, perhaps you can give a little background. I know you gave us a great presentation, and everybody got to know you a little bit earlier today. But why don't you tell us about your experience as a business in Port Credit so far?
Sure. Well, thanks. And yeah, I wasn't even going to introduce myself because I feel like I got to hog the microphone earlier. But yeah, so my business is in the Portlington Financial Building. There's a couple of offices in there. So I'm one of those, although I haven't been able to get in there as much as I would like with the kids home from school. But it's been really great. And I don't know if Eunice ever comes out to these things, but she is such a wealth of knowledge, and she's really fantastic to be around. So the community is great. I love the neighborhood. I live just across here, Ontario, from the GO station on the east side. So it's, I've lived here for ages, and it's really fun to get out and actually meet the business owners. All those businesses I walk by every day. I can finally put a face to it.
That's awesome. And Julia, why don't you give us a little intro? Lucy, Maria, and myself were in the same group previously.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we got a chance to kind of chat, but why don't you give us a quick little intro?
Sure. So back in 2016, I was in your place, Maria. I was walking around Port Credit every day for 2 years, being like, I just want to find a space. And my dreams was to open a paint and wine bar in Mississauga. I wanted to be the first one of our type. And it was really hard to get entry into Port Credit just because the locations that I was looking for weren't coming available. So I tried everything from the east to the west. And then eventually we were about to give up. I met Lucy in Blue Mountain. It's a famous story. She let me use her space to test out the market in Port Credit. It went really well. She became a really good friend and mentor. And then we eventually hooked up with a nice realtor referred through a network in Port Credit. So like people in Port Credit are so friendly. They will like hook you up with anything you need. And then the realtor found us our final resting place. Is that morbid?
Current.
Yeah.
in the Port Street Market. So we opened our little wine bar there. It's been going amazing and hard as well. We're in pandemic now, so we've been there for 3 years. We're now doing our paint and wine sessions virtually. We've added mixology and wine tasting, and we opened a really neat little French patio if we were ever allowed to, which I don't even think it might happen this year. So that being said, we hope we can hold on to our space and continue to do what we love. And that's a little bit about me.
Thanks, Julia.
I can really feel for what it feels like to try and find a place in Port Credit. So if you ever
Not that easy.
I hadn't realized that you'd had to look for so long.
Yes, long time. And there's a lot in place that you might not think about. So like if you're running a place with food and beverage as well, you have to have a parking study, you have to have the proper zoning, you have to have the right regulations for everything, because as soon as you start adding alcohol, not just food, it becomes incredibly difficult and expensive. And so we were like in and out of so many buildings, so many landlords. Like I've gone through it all.
Well, you ended up with prime real estate, right?
Yes.
You're right in it.
Yeah, thankfully, yeah.
And how about you, Lucy?
So I own Zest for Living,
Oh,
and I moved it to that location 5.5 years ago. It used to be on Elizabeth Street, kind of off the side street. And certainly I find that in Port Credit, if you're a service that is known, you don't have to be on the main street. But if you are a retail, if you count on walk by, you really need to be in the visual, because people kind of have blinders on when they're walking along Lakeshore. Like they will not go down the side streets unless they know where they're going. So that's kind of a tricky thing when you're looking for a space, I find, is if you really want the walk by, you have to be on the main street, which makes it more expensive and a little tougher to find too. So
Maria, are you considering, like, do you need a place on your own, or are you considering even shop mating with somebody?
yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
I did speak with MT. I'm open to anything, all options. I did speak with MT from Quaint and Paint, and I went and looked at her space. It was something I was considering, but I think I would like a little more space, because plants do take up space.
Yeah.
There's a lot of big homes in the area, so I would like to be able to offer like the big fig trees and like the bigger plants as well. So I think ideally I would start off in my own space, but if that's not possible, I could also make it work with sharing with someone to start off.
Yeah, it might be like something to look into as an entrance strategy. You could pop up in a shop for a while until you actually get like your clients starting to really rush to you, and like then you can like invest when pandemic gets a little better. Just an idea.
Yes.
You know, I was talking to somebody recently, because I kind of was wandering around back when we were allowed to wander into places. So Shoo Sherry is on the east side, but she's like such a similar story to you, where she had e-commerce first and then she really wanted to open her own storefront. If you haven't connected with her, she might be a really good person for you to chat with. I think she's just like maybe one step ahead of where you are, because she just opened.
Oh, awesome. Oh, yeah, no, I think I've seen her store pop up now that I think about it.
It's a cute little store, but it sounds like the exact same story, that e-commerce went well, time to open a storefront, and she really wanted to be in Port Credit. So
yeah, I love Port Credit.
Well, there you go. A lot of hot tips, Maria. So a lot of hot tips and a lot of valuable information from people who have already done it. So thanks guys for sharing. It's so important to know. And even for me, you know, as a BIA, I really want to learn what your experiences have been as business owners, just so that we can create programming that, you know, better supports existing businesses, and then of course help new businesses who are trying to come in. So this conversation was really, really valuable for me.
Yay.
Yeah. Really quickly, we have 1 minute. Lucy, talk to me about your TikTok because I saw it recently.
So cute. Richie.
I love it.
So cute.
I love that you're on there. Who's filming for you, and how did you, land onto that platform?
Well, it's my daughter and one of the girls that work for me. But my daughter's like, Mom, you know what? We could make a TikTok. I'm like, okay, whatever. And so we try and film like 2 or 3, and then I just kind of stagger when I take them out. So it's either my daughter or Heather, who works at the shop with me, who are my directors and film it. And then I've just learned how to kind of cut it together and find songs. And this morning I was like, oh, I can do this with it. Ooh. So I kind of gave a little old feel and a little glitch. My son's like, was there a glitch? I go, I put that glitch in. Like, oh.
I love it.
It's pretty interesting. And so it's quite funny how you don't realize, because he said, if you save it as a reel, anyone can see it. I'm like, I don't know if I want that.
Yes, you do. It's so good.
But
your videos are so
have
good.
that for years. Anyway, so I will try and do 1 a week. No more than that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's it can be scary. It can be scary.
You have to be willing to put yourself out there and just go, yep, okay.
Totally. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. How was round 2? Good? Awesome. Does anyone want to share what they were chatting about? We were just chatting about Lucy's amazing TikTok account and her great videos that she is going to be putting out weekly. So if you guys aren't following Zest on Instagram and socials, definitely do that, please. So we are approaching near the end of our event together. So I'm just going to touch on a few updates from the PCBIA before I open the floor one last time to any new members who would like to chat. So our monthly Biz Mixers, they will be happening every 3rd Thursday of the month. And our next event is on May 20th at 8 a.m. So if you didn't get a chance to join us last time, you'll notice that our events go from morning to evening, just to give everyone an opportunity to hop on during a time that best suits them. Steps Art Challenge. So Port Credit was selected to participate again in the Steps Art Challenge. If you recall, last year we were selected to participate and actually the winners of the art challenge. And when you walk around Port Credit, you will see our colorful painted cement circles and semicircles, which ended up landing us the first prize and a little bit of prize money that we get to use on more beautification throughout Port Credit. So as a new nominee for 2021, you can expect to see more bright and colorful Muskoka chairs around the village. And lastly, the East Village Think Tank. So over the last few months, we formed a think tank, which was headed by Anne, one of our directors on the BIA. And we gathered to hear some new ideas to help promote our East Side Village. So you can expect to see more great events like classic cars coming soon. Okay, we're a small group here today, so I believe that everyone did have a chance to kind of meet and do some introductions, but if there's anyone who would like to take the opportunity to speak to the group as a whole and either do, an introduction or give a business update, by all means, please, the floor is yours. I think everyone seems to be good for today. Yeah, we all had the opportunity to chat and discuss and meet. So no worries. Okay, so we ended nice and early today, 7:29. So I will give you guys 10 minutes back to your evenings. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we hope to see you at the next networking event in May. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
Right.